After 20 years in real estate, nothing has been more polarizing and concerning than what just happened last week. On Halloween, a federal judge in Kansas City ruled in favor of a class action lawsuit against the National Association of Realtors and some of the largest brokerages in the United States, to the tune of $1.8 billion. At the core of this lawsuit is a claim that the National Association of Realtors has colluded to inflate home sale commissions. The effect from this lawsuit could affect every American homeowner in unintended ways, beyond what the media has even touched on. It's an incredibly complex subject, but in this video, I'm going to explain what the lawsuit entailed, who the winners and losers are, and ultimately how this will affect the way real estate is bought and sold in the future. So get ready for one hell of a deep dive. First, let's talk about NAR, or the National Association of Realtors. In full disclosure, I'm a member of NAR. While I've never publicly voiced my opinion, let me say that I have not been too much of a happy member. But similar to this lawsuit, as a real estate agent, you essentially have no option but to join NAR. Now, you can be a real estate agent once you're licensed, but in order to access the MLS, you must join NAR. Well, it's basically impossible to conduct business without being a member. Try convincing a seller to list their home when you don't have any access to the MLS. Try showing a property when you don't have access to the listing information or can even access the lockbox. It's like having a driver's license but no car to drive.
Oh, it's not fun anymore, not even a little bit.
So as a result, virtually every real estate agent becomes a realtor once they join NAR. Nearly 90% of homes sold in the United States are through agents that are affiliated with NAR. That's more than 1.5 million realtors nationwide. This made NAR the largest professional organization in the United States, with more than $1 billion in assets and one of the largest lobbyists in Washington. Now, that was according to openseekers.org. They spent $82 million just last year alone lobbying. Now let's discuss the lawsuit. Filed in 2019 on behalf of hundreds of thousands of home sellers in Missouri, Illinois, and Kansas, they claim that by forcing sellers to offer a buyer's agent's commission, it keeps agents' fees higher. They claim that if buyers themselves had to pay their agent's commission, competition and technology would bring those fees down, therefore lowering home prices and commissions. It all started when a homeowner offered a lower than normal buyer's commission and had his home essentially boycotted by realtors that were seeking a higher commission by basically every other home seller. Now, while this lawsuit offers a simplistic solution to an incredibly complex market, I have to admit that there are some major valid issues I have with regards to transparency and consumer rights. While the responsibility of commissions vary around the world, here in America, the seller negotiates a total commission when they go to list their home. Typically, this number is between 5% and 6%. While it's assumed that the listing agent and the buyer's agent will split that total commission, there tends to be a huge lack of transparency here that I've personally criticized on multiple occasions over the years on this very channel. While the norm is 6%, split 3 and 3, different regions of the country and different price ranges can dictate different commission structures. Not to mention, market conditions can greatly affect commissions as well. See, when the market's on fire, homes tend to literally sell themselves. Therefore, commissions tend to go down. But when the market's soft and therefore more difficult to sell, commissions tend to go up. But greed ultimately kills everything. This is what I've been warning about for years. From time to time, you come across greedy agents who charge their seller, say 6% to sell their home, but only offer out 2%. Why is this an issue? Well, if this agent is only offering 2% and that home across the street is offering 3%, no agent is going to want to show the home with a 2% commission. While boycotting showings is a noted violation by NAR, it happens every single day, everywhere in the country. It's just basic common sense. To make matters worse, some associations' contracts, take mine for instance, removed all transparency regarding this very issue. It simply states the total commission and then this disclaimer. seller acknowledges that offers of cooperative compensation are between brokers and are not negotiable between the seller and buyer. Basically, that seller has no idea how much their agent is actually offering another agent. This can literally result in that seller losing thousands of dollars through unnecessary price reductions and or a smaller pool of buyers, resulting in a lower offer and a subsequent lower sales price. All because their agent was greedy and the associations failed to protect the consumer by offering that full transparency. This needs to change, and I presume will change in the near future as a result of this exact ruling. Now, before I explain why this lawsuit may not actually change much in reality or disrupt the entire industry for likely worse, let's look at the winners and losers. First, the winners. Clearly, it's American homeowners who are wealthier and more educated. On the front end, it's now going to cost half as much to sell your home. That much is obvious, but as you'll understand later, while the cost will come down, the experience is likely to greatly worsen. Next will be new home builders. If it becomes customary for buyers to pay their agent, then potentially new home builders won't have to worry about paying commissions anymore altogether. This also gives them a massive opportunity to take advantage of buyers who now have no legal representation and will rely solely on the sales agent who really represents the home builder's best interest. Essentially, you added 3% to a builder's net profit while not holding them accountable and simultaneously discouraging buyers from knowing their legal rights and options. Now, let's discuss the losers. Realtors aside, the biggest actual loser in this entire equation are home buyers, especially younger, less educated, and lower income buyers. Basically, the exact disenfranchised population we're already discussing due to lack of affordable housing. By putting the onus of commissions on them, you're now creating another barrier to entry by charging the people who can least afford it. We're going to discuss this much more later in the video. But next we have realtors. While it's estimated that commissions could drop by as much as 30%, the truth here is much more nuanced. Agents who specialize in buyers, they're not going to survive. While I'm aware of the negative stigma that realtors have, according to Indeed, the average income for a realtor is $85,000. Most realtors aren't rich. Not to mention, it's one of the top jobs for single parents due to the flexibility of schedule, and it allows them to be present in their child's lives while also earning a fair income. Also, many women enter the field after raising children since they've gone so many years without employment and the barriers to entry are relatively small. So, if you take pleasure in seeing people lose their careers and income, it really says more about you than them. And I'm talking to you in the comments section because I know it's coming. Successful agents will be fine. Perhaps more so if the pool of agents actually does shrink. But it's those single parent agents who have commitments and are just trying to eke out a fair income who ultimately will suffer the most by this. Next, we have sites like Zillow and Redfin who will see declining revenue. See, they rely heavily on income generated by these agents to advertise our own listings and then get leads back in return. One of the many glorious errors that NAR made years ago. Finally, and without much empathy, is NAR themselves. They're already a train wreck. The CEO, Bob Goldberg, resigned early last week after announcing his initial step down at the end of this year. Then, of course, we had Kenny Parcell, who resigned this summer after a sordid sexual harassment story leaked. Suffice to say, there needs to be big changes over at NAR on multiple fronts. Last but not least are the major brokerages. Now, earlier this year, RE/MAX settled for $55 million, and the parent company of Coldwell Banker, Century 21, and Sotheby's paid out $83.5 million. Meanwhile, Keller Williams and Warren Buffett's Berkshire Home Services rolled the dice and just lost along with NAR. So now that we've covered the story and we've addressed the winners and losers, how is this ultimately going to play out? While potentially we could see changes coming as early as next year, the Department of Justice is investigating antitrust charges, and multiple lawsuits that are similar to this recent victory are now starting to pop up. While the damages awarded initially were $1.8 billion, the judge could raise this up to $5 billion. In the end, all of this will be appealed and likely go nowhere for quite some time. But let's say buyers are responsible to pay their agents commissions. Realtors will now have to negotiate their commission structure with their own clients. This has multiple implications on both sides. Hopefully, creating more competition amongst agents will create better and more professional environment overall, as weaker and less educated agents have to fall out of the industry. But in reality, those weaker agents will simply charge minimal fees and provide even less value since they can't afford to dedicate the time required to each individual client. Essentially, quality goes down. Our best mathematicians and scientists diverted years ago and went to Wall Street because they got paid substantially more to build algorithms and financial models. You want better education? Pay teachers $100,000 a year and watch the quality of teachers increase substantially and our education rates rise. Instead, we don't pay our teachers and then we wonder why our education levels continue to decline. If you think home builders and sellers are now going to lower their home prices because they're saving money on commissions, I've got beachfront property to sell you out here in Las Vegas. No, that money goes right to the bottom line. Realistically, these same sellers that think they're saving money aren't really. They're simply deferring their savings until they purchase a new home where they'll be forced to yet pay another agent. You only win in this scenario if you sell your home and elect to rent. And for the 400 level people out there that can see this big picture forming, this could actually cost some sellers more money. There's been multiple times in my career that I offered higher commissions on my personal properties in order to generate more interest and more showings, since giving an agent a 2% bonus was substantially cheaper to me than the effect of lowering the list price by that same amount. That same will be true moving forward. If a home builder can't sell homes, they'll offer commissions again. They'll offer bonuses. Same with home sellers. If you can't sell your home, you either have to lower the price or offer a bonus commission, whichever is cheaper and more effective to your bottom line. But let's cut to the chase. Initially, some sellers will offer a commission and some won't. Buyer's agents will have to charge their clients a commission in the event that they don't receive one from these sellers. And then in return, those same buyers will be more motivated to pick the home that's offering a commission, since that's one less thing they have to shell out of pocket to their agent. Then in the greatest twist of all, most likely, buyers will ask their agents to have the seller pay their commission as part of the deal when it's time to negotiate. In the end, what people are completely missing is that purchasing a home is not akin to buying a TV online or even buying a car. If you mess up one of those purchases, sure, you may be stuck for a little while with a product you don't like, and it may have some financial implications even. But purchasing a home for the majority of Americans is their largest financial investment, a major source of stress and confusion, and the legal and financial implications are tremendous. So making it more difficult for people to achieve the American dream under the guise of hoping that technology and competition will compensate in order to save sellers money is an incredibly simplistic and short-sighted effort. If you truly want to improve the system, hold realtors more accountable when it comes to licensing. It's not easy to pass the LSAT or bar exam. It's not easy to get your Series 7 license. Create more transparency with regards to commission structures so sellers know what they're getting for their money. After 20 years in the business, I never cease to be amazed by the agents people use to represent them. While I fail to see how negotiating buyers' commissions truly helps anyone, or the people who need the most help in our society, I suppose my only hope is that if buyers are forced to pay for service now, they'll finally start demanding better service from their agents. But judging by the amount of crooked iPhone photos of toilets on the MLS nowadays, my guess is this will only make purchasing a home worse in the future for Americans. Now, thank you so much for watching. Please share this video and be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future. See you guys all in the next one. Deuces.